to For the Love of Men podcast. My name is Courtney Shand, and I'm hosting with my dear friend, Brianna Mosier.
Hi.
The intention of the show is to bring together men and women to create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics by learning how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core. And I am super excited, as always, to bring this content to you. We've got some good stuff planned out. But before we dive in, I want to introduce you to my friend Bri, because she is amazing at what she does, which is... drum roll.
This is where I go.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Not that we haven't done this 60 times.
T-ball.
My work in the world is helping really driven, ambitious women embrace their feminine energy while they grow their businesses or excel in their careers and create healthy relationships, attracting an empowered masculine men, feel confident, radiant, embrace their sexuality and sensuality, all that juicy stuff. You do that through private work, through courses, through classes, all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Courtney's work is similar but different. If you've listened to the show, you've heard me say that 100 times. Mm-hmm. Tell the people.
Yes. I also use a body-based transformation modality that helps us get into our body and really feel secure from within. That radiates outward when we are feeling secure within ourselves, whether it be how we take care of our body, how we see ourselves, how we show up on dates, really letting go of some of the generational triggers and impact that we have been living in for who knows how long. So I love helping women experience that freedom to be themselves and express themselves more authentically and just grow, shine brighter, and be more of who they're intended to be.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. What are we talking about today?
We've been asked this several times, and we are finally getting this episode to you guys. This is something we've had on our radar for a few years now.
Yeah.
As we've been talking about masculine and feminine energy, and especially this empowered versus wounded dynamic, is what happens when we start to feel jealous.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when you're dating an empowered partner.
Does this mean that they're not empowered? Does this mean I'm not empowered? Whose is this? That's always the hard thing to discern. And so we wanted to unpack this a little bit because it's something that's so common, and jealousy is just a human experience. So we can't get around it regardless of how empowered or evolved we are. Mm-hmm. So we want to just put that on the table, that this is just a human piece that we want to talk about and kind of help you discern how to navigate.
Yeah, well said. We had someone write in well over a year ago now, talking about how she was dating who she felt like was an empowered masculine man, but he was getting so much attention from other women, or, you know, he would hold the door for all the women, and there was this feeling of, am I special for him? Was what was coming up with her, but it was coming out as, I'm really jealous. I don't know if he should be treating other women this way. So we want to unpack that. That's her teaser, but Courtney has a really great story she was telling me as an example. We have discussed this. I'm not putting her on the spot this time. Will you share that example of kind of changing the narrative on masculinity?
Yeah. So it was on TikTok, one of the people who we've connected with on TikTok, I think his name's Levi Watson, something like that. Anyways, he was putting a reel out about masculinity, and he told the story of Lionel Messi, the soccer player.
Big sports people over here.
Big sports people. I do know who Messi is. Anyways, he was saying that he has been married to the same woman since they were in, like, you know, fresh out of high school or college or whatever, very long time, and how he handles women who are drawn to him. He has blocked several women. He's made, you know, very not public in terms of like degrading, but very like clear boundaries of this is what's acceptable for me and this is what is not acceptable for me, in order to protect his relationship with his wife. And he was just saying that we need to celebrate healthy masculinity in that way, where if you're wanting to be a healthy masculine partner, would you allow your sister to date you? We want to be the type of partner that we would want our closest people that we really love and care about to feel safe being entrusted with. That was the point that I was like, ooh, that is well said.
100%. And the reframe on protector energy, right? Not just protector from danger and outside sources and all those things, but protecting her heart, protecting her sense of feeling unique and special to you, protecting your bond. And that can look like things like that, setting those boundaries in the name of love for your partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's really interesting if you listen to the episode last week about the kind of culture shift that we're in, of like listening to what works for me, this doesn't feel good for me, this takes away from my experience, really finding that balance between selflessness and self-fullness in a mature, empowered way. It's tricky because it does, I think, at least in my experience, it takes a little discernment and trial and error of where the line is for you. Once you find that line, you can kind of grow up in that space, and finding someone that is able to do that with you, I think, is also important.
Yeah, and we just want to normalize too that it's such a common experience. Once you step into being in your empowered feminine energy and you're attracting in mostly empowered masculine partners, which most, if not all of my clients get there. I'm sure you are similar, right? Like once they get there, as you're dating that empowered masculine partner or feminine partner, of course they're going to be magnetic. Of course people are going to seek their attention, want to be around them. Of course people are going to notice them and their radiance. And there are ways with boundaries, but also with seeing the other person to respond to that, you know? And the element of like what she was saying when she wrote in, well, he still opens doors for other women, things like that. That's gonna happen when you date an empowered masculine man who generally respects and wants to treat all women well, whether it's his grandma or his mom or your sister. He's gonna be respectful in that manner. It's not a dig at you, and I think that's such a reframe, but the call underneath is specialness, right? I wanna know that I'm unique and special to him, that nobody compares to me. So if you're a man listening, I would ask you to listen to that element. If your woman is jealous, there's usually a feeling of, I want to feel special and chosen and like the perfect fit for you. And that is being threatened when she finds herself pulling at how you treat other women or how women treat you. Caveat, unless you're breaking some boundaries, right? If you're breaking some boundaries, that's your own work.
Yes.
Did I explain that correctly? Okay.
Yeah. I think the ask for women in that space is to assert what you actually need. Set him up to win. If you're needing reassurance, I need reassurance. If you're needing, to feel, because the feeling messages can be tricky to interpret as men. And I think that's where sometimes these can be minor miscommunications of, I want to feel special. And to me, that looks like X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Would set your partner up to win versus like, you don't make me feel special anymore. Where did we miss?
He's going to interpret that as criticism, get defensive. It's going to trigger his I'm not good enough wound, which is really common with the masculine, versus the feminine tends to be I'm too much. And that triggers her. She's going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm too much. I'm asking for too much. Like that. Instead of reframing it just the way Courtney has said it, it's like, I want to feel special to you, and here are the things that help me feel that way.
Yeah. And I would still say that work is very much on each partner. I think there's still work on each side. If you're the one who's experiencing the jealousy, can you use it as an opportunity to clarify where the boundary is for you? If you can do that, worst case scenario, you have more clarity of what will and won't work for you. You move on, you find someone else that can work with those boundaries, or you can kind of fumble along and try and figure out why you're not feeling special. But if you can do the work of clarifying for yourself where the line's being crossed, it's much more likely that they will not cross it because they can see it clearly.
Well said.
Yeah, I think that's one that's really tricky, especially for women, because I think historically the feminine feels more sensitive to attention not being on her as safety. It's a safety thing. When the attention's not on me, I don't feel as safe. We have to still be our source of safety. And part of that is speaking up for what safety looks and feels like. Setting your partner up to win in that way, I think, is still your responsibility as the empowered feminine version of yourself.
And maybe too, to discuss as a couple what those boundaries are and what feelings they create. You might be somebody who errs more on the side of, I love that you have female friends and close female friendships. You might be somebody who's more on the side of, I don't really see why new female friendships are necessary once you're partnered or married. I'm not going to assert my own needs, wants, and opinions on that, but it is worth discussing with your partner so that you're on the same page. And then what things can elicit that feeling of, I'm the only one for you, I feel special, I feel seen. I was telling Courtney before we started the show that for me, I'd want to have a secret word with my partner, you know? And to be able to say, hi, like, I need to know that I'm in your number one, I'm your co-pilot, even though these women are beautiful and magnetized to you because you're so amazing, you're still here with me, you choose me, that sort of thing. And again, like Court said, just reiterating, there's work on the feminine side to create her own safety, to feel secure, but there's also an element like that beginning story where the masculine protects the feminine's heart. Knowing all this energy is going to come towards him, what boundaries is he going to set to protect their bond and protect her? Women get to do that too, by the way, because as women start radiating, becoming more successful, coming into their body, certainly when I work with women on sex and intimacy, they start glowing because they're alive inside their body. And then there are going to be feminine parts of the masculines, we all have both energies, that might also need that specialness factor. Hi, well, I'm still the one that you're choosing, loving, nobody compares to me, right? That's just human.
Yeah. And I think the ask, and I don't know in the men's space if this is something that's talked about, because historically the dynamic has been shifting so rapidly over the last 50, 60 years, where men would I'm curious, men, tell us, let us know. Do men feel comfortable saying that I feel jealous of this scenario where you're shining and radiant and everyone's drawn to you, which is the double-edged sword? I have heard that from men in the relationship coaching space where their partner is super high value and therefore is going to be attractive to lots of other potential suitors. And the ask is, if you want someone that is at that level, you have to be willing to hold that much energy as well. That is the best defense is offense of, can you meet her at that level and continue to fan her flame, continue to help her grow and expand, and not see her growth as a threat? Are you able to be with those vulnerable parts of you that do feel jealous? And I am really curious what the skill set looks like in the men's space for that.
Right, because the opposite, she would actually start resenting. If she was really radiating and he started to go into a wounded masculine controlling space or trying to make her play smaller, she'll be resentful, she'll pull away, she'll close off, especially if she's that empowered. If she's really out there, you know, doing all those things truly in her empowered feminine energy, not achieving from a place of lack of worthiness like wounded feminine will do, but she's really in her radiance, believes in herself, all these things, that energy is going to feel like a mismatch. It will push her, she'll pull herself away from you because she's somebody who's ultimately most committed to her own self-growth and expression. And what's going to foster that soul growth, self-growth, all those things, not necessarily, you know, keeping the relationship connection. Any relationship that makes you play smaller is not an aligned relationship, in my opinion. Somebody's and if that's the case, somebody's wounds are pulling on it so much, you know, so work on both sides.
Yep, absolutely. I see that, I think, happen in either the wounded masculine will play up. That's how jealousy gets expressed for men, where they do want to kind of like control, contain, box her in. I don't want to have to be exposed in this way, be smaller. Or in the wounded feminine, where they will kind of make little, almost like undermining her growing, undermining in little subtle ways that women do to each other, unfortunately.
It's wounded feminine energy.
Very wounded feminine energy where we don't feel confident, and therefore we start to nitpick or start to criticize or pull on, almost like, don't leave me, I don't want to be here by myself with these wounded feelings. I would rather you just stay here with me.
Right, it could come out like, don't outgrow me. Like, hey, you're getting so big now, don't forget about me. Which is a little wounded feminine eking out, but in a disempowered way. So instead of it drawing out compassion or her wanting to reassure, it's probably going to draw out more her feeling controlled and wanting to be like kind of an ick feeling.
It'll pull the ick for sure.
The ick feeling.
Yep.
And the ick is a clear sign of when you get the ick, wounded feminine.
Yep.
That's what's happening.
Yep. 100%. So that's how it plays out in men versus women. We've talked about how it plays out with women who are feeling jealous of the attention that their men are getting. I think the thing that you mentioned before we started that was super important to acknowledge is what the energy is coming from, what the attention is coming from. If it's coming from a leaky, like empowered, but also really on kind of the back end of that, enjoying the validation and like thriving in the validation space, or is it coming from like, I'm doing my thing, this is what I'm here to do, my purpose, I'm on path, and keep going piece. Is it, which one is it? Because that will definitely help you discern, is this someone that I want to share that I'm feeling vulnerable in this way with, or is it something that I need to work on myself and possibly be ready to part ways if that's not going to be a fit for you?
Yeah, that is a palpable energy difference.
Say more.
It really is. And the better you get at discerning wounded versus empowered of both energies, the clearer it becomes. The way that I started to discern this on my own first was within me, like questioning and checking myself around, okay, am I posting this picture just because I feel beautiful and amazing and I'm, celebrating it? Or is there a part of me seeking validation and attention and wanting all these comments, right? I'm making this up. That exact scenario didn't happen, but it's a good example. And then it became palpable. Let's say if I was dating somebody who was posting a lot of like shirtless gym pictures or something. I used to date the gym type when I was competing. Is that coming from a place of I'm celebrating my body because this is my lifestyle, I'm proud of myself? Or is it coming from this, gee, I hope people comment, I hope girls respond, I hope they give me this attention. I hope when I go out, all the men notice me and want to approach the table. Okay, here it is. This is what's gonna help it land for you. If you're a woman, you ever been out with a group of girls, you're in a relationship, someone else is single. I don't know what the other girls are doing, but they're there. And one of the girls is single, and she is looking at who's looking at her the whole time. She's not with you, present with you, looking at you guys. It'll be like a laugh louder, like make it look like I said something funny kind of energy. Everything is about who's validating, wanting me. Are they going to approach us? Are they going to approach us? And I'm not judging this, by the way. I had a short little phase where I went through this. I'm sure you've had moments of feminine energy. Oh, I want to be magnetic.
Yeah.
That
black hole energy.
Yes, but that is wounded feminine. And again, it's not to be shamed, it's wounded. It's not feeling self-assured and self-validated. And so that difference will be palpable in a man or a woman in their behavior.
Yeah.
Versus empowered.
Which looks like,
I just call it, you know your own worthiness. You know that you're magnetic, you feel beautiful, you feel confident in yourself. And you're in that humble, quiet confidence, going about your life, doing what feels fun to you. You get dressed up for you. If somebody approaches you, great. They don't approach, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't shake your sense of self-worth. You're not posting photos just to get attention or all these things. It's out of like, I'm really celebrating myself. Maybe you don't even engage with the men or the women that are in your comments saying those things because you didn't do it for that. And it's only palpable like in yourself. And then as you learn this person and you start to get the inkling of, oh, it's so abstract. Feminine energy is always so abstract.
yes.
But it is there. It's practice.
Yes. The discernment piece.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good example though, because as you're gaining discernment, you do have to have some like examples of what does this actually look like? How would we know? And I think that's such a great experience. And I would say that's super relatable for most people. I would say male or female or wherever you find yourself in your expression of masculine or feminine energy. We've all had those moments where we're like, I do call it the black hole, where you're just like sucking on energy, like trying to bring everything to you because you just feel bottomless in terms of your need for validation and attention. And I think that's the only way to graduate to the empowered energies is to acknowledge that feeling, because it is a wounded part of us. And once you take ownership of it, you can really direct that how you need to and live your life from a place that isn't dictated by that. When you feel jealous or insecure, you have a system or a way of being with those feelings and moving through them in a way that empowers you to be that version, to be the bigger version of yourself that you're missing.
I love that. And on the relationship end, so do everything Courtney said, from the self stuff, right? And as you're in the relationship, if it were me, I would just name it with my partner. If it like kept coming up and I was having this feeling, you can share this without putting it on them. So you come from a place of ownership and containment, right? I'm noticing I'm having these feelings of jealousy. They're not your responsibility. And if you're clear on he's coming from an empowered place, right? If he's just an EM getting this attention, you can say, I'm just aware you're an amazing person and people want to give you attention. And I'm noticing I want to feel special. I want to feel chosen. I want to know that I'm right up here with you as the perfect partner for you. I'm having some feelings of insecurity. I just want to name it so we can open a conversation about it. And then a code word would be a great thing too. I love a code word in any situation where something feels vulnerable. Being able to say like, I feel like pineapple is the universal code word. I don't know.
Yeah, that was what was coming to mind for me too.
Being able to say pineapple and he can be like, baby, you're the only one that matters to me. And she's like, okay.
You're the bestest and the most.
Yes, or vice versa. Him being like, pineapple. She could be like, you are my man. And then he's back in driver's seat.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the direct ask. The clearer, I always go back to like the clearer that you can be, the better chance you have. Because at the end of the day, that is your experience that you are responding to. You want to invite your partner into in a way that creates more intimacy, not resentment and pulling and not this like power dynamic that already feels like it's happening. That's never an empowering way to go.
No, and the only way to create intimacy is through vulnerability. This is the hard part that we all want to skip. It's shitty, it sucks, your stomach turns, you don't want to say it, you feel embarrassed. Sit with it, do your own self-work, and then really I would encourage you to bring it to the table. Every time I've done that, obviously I have an EM as a partner, right? But every time I've done that, I've been so surprised by how well received it was and how much closer I feel to my partner,
I love that.
Yeah, stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna have big feelings. You might as well practice now.
Yes.
Yeah, you have anything else to say about this?
I'm trying to think. I was just doing some coaching on this a couple weeks ago, so I'm trying to remember if there was anything. I think we covered everything, honestly, because the clarity piece is so important. And if you need help clarifying, that's where I was going with that. Reach out. This is literally when you have some outside eyes on it, it gets easier for you to drop the judgment of yourself. When you're judging yourself, you're kind of spinning in this space that creates more wounded feminine energy typically of something's wrong with me, I should be doing better, I'm not a good partner, they don't love me. And then, before we know it, we're just this puddle on the floor. And when it's really just something simple like, hey, can we clarify where the line is, where it feels like we're overstepping? Something really simple. That's going to be a very clear A-B where you can say, we clarified this already and this is not going to work for me. This has been great and we're parting ways. Or, hey, we clarified this and I'm so glad because I thought it was over here and it's actually over here. Of course I want to not cross that line. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Love it.
Both of them can be very empowered. They can both be done in a very empowered way. So.
It doesn't have to be a messy split or a messy conversation. And certainly if you're with mostly an empowered partner, it's not going to be that messy. But that takes practice. I will say my first few vulnerable conversations, like my first 100, were probably very messy. Maybe the first 20, I'll say, were kind of messy. And then you gain some skill set you get better at.
Which, if you're wanting to gain some skill set, we have some masterclasses to help you out with that.
Oh yeah, easy.
This would be the time to get those masterclasses. Navigating triggers is, I think, exceptional for this work.
Yes.
And then the other one for masculine and feminine we have of how to help your partner open up and how to provide for her emotionally. Both of those are going to tell you so much about yourself and how to be with these parts of you that are feeling vulnerable and how to share that with your partner in a way that empowers them to empower you back.
Love it.
Genius.
You can get all 3 code partners.
Yeah.
You get them all half off when you buy them in bulk like that. Really, if you're looking for some skill sets, you're not ready to make a high level investment, that's the place to do it.
Yes.
It's on, I think it's under you. It's in the show notes.
Yep, it's in the show notes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then if you want more official support, both Courtney and I have private coaching. If that interests you, we both have courses on healing and embodying your feminine energy. And Courtney has a program out, Nourished, right?
Yes.
For women who want to approach eating, their relationship with nourishment, eating, nutrition from a feminine energy place.
Yes.
The most unique thing. I've never heard anyone else have a program like this.
You know, it is. I'm really proud of it because I've had several eating disorder clinics come talk to me about my practice and what I do. And they're actually like, wow, we haven't thought about it from all those angles. So it is well thought out. Very unique, holistic approach to regulating your nervous system, helping heal relationships with yourself and with other people so that you feel strong and confident in your body and allow that attraction and feminine energy to flow more freely from your body. So that'll be running right now. While this is going live, we will be in practice with that, but obviously reach out if it's something that you're interested in pursuing further, because I do lead people one-on-one through that content, and I just streamlined it. I cut everything that is not completely essential to get you there in the fastest, most direct route.
So good. Mm-hmm. We love it. Follow us on TikTok, For the Love of Men Podcast, the For the Love of Men Podcast on Instagram.
And YouTube.
Building Bree Coaching. I have a new Instagram now since Pleasure Education. My Instagram got taken down. So now it's Building Bree Coaching. Make sure we're connected there. Courtney is at Courtney_Shand. The finger guns are out to play. A little late to the show, but they made it. Rest assured.
They'll be here.
And that's it.
It's a wrap.
We will see you next week.